All right, here's a little nifty concept as far as a route concept and route combination. Like, you're gonna have Cedric Wilson here on motion, and he's gonna release inside of the tight end and hook right here to hold the linebacker. Now Tyreek is gonna work his way on a dig, as he's prone to do, and the tight end is gonna release outside on an out. Now, theoretically, what the Raiders are in here is some type of quarters coverage that will turn into a robber concept and possibly cover 3, right? So, once you have that robber concept, you're going to have some some run after the catch possibilities for Tyreek Hill. Now, the key is to hold this linebacker. Ideally, in this type of defense, the linebacker wants to get depth. But there's so much space right here that Cedric Wilson is going to occupy with his little hook that it's going to hold the linebacker. Linebacker can't let him go. It's just too much room for him to run. And you're allowing essentially a free 10 yards if you leave and vacate this short intermediate zone. So he's gonna. He's obligated to take Cedric Wilson in the intermediate zone, which is going to open space behind him. Ball just has to be on time, and you need a receiver that's going to run it on time. And Tyreek Hill is that guy. Let's see it. We're going to stop it right here at the bottom of the drop, and as you can see, he's held. Cedric Wilson has occupied the short intermediate zone. Corner has rolled up to take away the flat route. They're loading that flat route, which is going to make them keep their integrity on defense. They're robbing the short zone, which is giving them this 3-deep look, which is giving all of this space for Tyreek Hill. This is perfectly executed. Good throw. Better catch. Better run after the catch. All right, we got a little nifty route concept here. Pre-snap. All right, we got a little nifty
Waddle was to
route
the
concept here.
play side.
Pre-snap.
Field side, I should say.
Waddle was to
and then he
the
comes in motion to
play
the play
side,
side to
or
set
the
the
field
offense.
side,
Julian Hill is
I should
off.
say.
And then he
And they're
comes
facing
in
what
motion
looks
to
like
the play side to set
quarters
the
coverage.
offense. Julian Hill is
There's going
off.
to be essentially two,
and they're
in the
facing what
pattern
looks
here.
like
You're going to have Tyreek
quarters coverage.
working the dig.
There's going to be essentially two.
And you're going to have
in the pattern here. You're going to
Waddle
have Tyreek
working the post,
working the dig.
It's called the scissors
And
concept.
you're going to have
It's
Waddle
a little
working
bit
the
different
post.
than what Kansas City
It's
used
called
to
the
run
scissors
with Tyreek
concept.
and
It's
Travis
a
Kelce, or
little bit
something
different than
a
what
little bit different
Kansas
than
City
what
used to run
they
with Tyreek
tried to
and
run last year
Travis
with
Kelce
Mike
or
Gesicki
something.
and Tyreek Hill.
A little bit different than what
They tried to
receiver's
run
gonna be the
last year
safety
with
valve.
Mike Gesicki and Tyreek Hill.
And what you're looking at right here is
This receiver's going to be the
essentially-
safety valve.
It looks like quarters.
And what you're
Although
looking at right
they
here
can shift
is
into
essentially
3 deep.
It looks like quarters,
And have that little robbers
although they
concept
can
that
shift
they ran a
into
lot in
3
this
deep.
game. And
But
have that
for this
little robbers
purpose,
concept
they really
that
don't
they
care
ran a
because they
lot in
have
this game.
Since you have this little,
But
mesh
for this
concept,
purpose, they really don't care because they have. Since you have
they're
this
figuring
little
that
mesh
this safety
concept,
could drive on the mesh, which is what essentially everybody else.
they're
tries to
figuring
do.
that this safety could
and
drive
that's going to leave this
on the
man
mesh,
one
which
on
is
one. What essentially everybody else tries to do and that's going to leave this man one on one. Jalen Waddle on the deep post. He's going to outrun him, and then you're just going to throw past him. Jalen Waddle on the deep.
Problem
post.
is the Waddle has
He's gonna
to
outrun
read
him,
the leverage
and then you're just going
of
to
where
throw
the safety
past
is,
him, right?
So like, let's
Problem
say
is
that
the Waddle has to
safety
read
is
the
coming to
leverage
the middle of
of
the
where
field,
the safety
and then
is.
he's just going to get deep.
So
to
like,
the
let's
goal
say
line.
that the safety
Then
is
Waddle
coming
has
to the
to
middle of the
flatten out,
field, and then he's just
going
going to
the
get
boundary
deep to the goal
and
line.
That's where the pass has to
Then
go.
Waddle has to
There's a
flatten out
miscommunication here, but
and get to the boundary.
it's really
And
about
that's where the pass has to
Tua
go.
has to read.
There's a
where the
miscommunication
safety
here,
is
but
going. It's really
at
about
the bottom of the drop.
Tua has to
and we're going
read
to try
where
to
the safety
catch
is
exactly
going
where he is going
at the bottom of the drop.
At the bottom of the drop.
And we're going to try to
catch
figure out
exactly where he
who
is
was
going
at fault for this interception.
at the bottom of the drop. To try to
So
figure out
we're running it.
who was at fault for this interception.
And
so we're running it.
here comes Cedric Wilson.
He is the safety valve. And here's the scissors
Comes
concept.
Cedric
That's
Wilson.
the bottom of the
He
drop,
is
right?
the safety valve.
There. And here's the
We're gonna
scissors
run
concept.
it
That's
back
the
a little
bottom
bit.
of the drop right there. We're just going to run it back a little bit. That's the bottom of the drop. Safety, where is he headed? That's the bottom of the drop, right to the goal line. Safety, where is he headed? As advertised,
Right to the goal
Nate
line.
Hobbs is going to actually follow Tyreek.
As advertised,
Across, Nate Hobbs is going to
and
this safety drove
Tyreek
on the dig.
across,
Which is essentially
and
double
this safety
coverage
drove
bracket coverage on Tyreek
on the
Hill.
dig.
Which is
And
essentially
Spillane,
the linebacker is
double
getting
coverage
depth
bracket
as
coverage
he
on
should.
Tyreek Hill.
But
And Spillane,
where's the read?
the
here?
linebacker is getting
Waddle
depth
reads
as he
the
should.
safety as headed toward the goal
But
line.
where's the read
So
here?
he's probably going to
Waddle
flatten
reads
out.
the safety
And that's where that
as
ball has
headed
to be
toward
delivered.
the goal line.
Tua delivers
So
it.
he's
Tried
probably
to going to flatten out, and that's
go
where
to
that
the
ball has
post
to be delivered
over the top
Tua
of the
delivers it.
safety.
Trying to. So it's
Go
one of
to the
those
post
things where
over
they
the
just
top
were
of the
not on the
safety.
same page on this play.
So
It's one
But
of those
if-
things where they just were not on the same page.
if you
on
make
this
the
play.
correct read,
But
and you're in
if-
sync, quarterback and wide receiver,
if
this
you
could
make the
go
correct
a
read,
long way,
and you're in sync,
and as
quarterback
you can see right
and
there,
wide
Waddle
receiver,
does
this
flatten
could
out
go
correctly.
a long way. And as you can see right there, Waddle
That
does
interception
flatten out
correctly
is on Tua Tagovailoa.
All right, let me
That
give you a
interception
quick run
is
fit
on
tutorial.
Tua Tagovailoa.
They're on the right
All right,
hash.
let me give you a
so since
quick,
they're on the right
run
hash, you're going to
fit
shade the
tutorial,
center.
which
They're
is
on the
what
right
Raekwon
hash.
Davis is
So
doing
since
right
they're on
here.
the right hash, you're going to
Okay.
shade the center.
You want to occupy the
which is what
tackle.
Raekwon Davis is doing right here.
You want to shade,
Okay.
of course.
You
if
want to
anything
occupy
is
the
going
tackle
to this side of the defense.
You want to shade, of course.
The run
if
fits
anything
are as
is
follows.
going
Okay,
to
you want to
this
engage
side
the
of
center.
the defense.
You don't want to let him bypass you.
The run fits are as follows.
Jerome
Okay,
Baker
you wanna
is going to
engage
read
the center.
the B
You
gap.
don't want to let him bypass
and
you.
he's going to read. Jerome Baker
The
is
flat.
going to read the B gap, and he's going to read.
David Long
has to read
the flat.
off of Raekwon Davis, either side.
David Long
for the
has
cutback
to read
off of Raekwon Davis
or the A gap.
either side.
For the
Cutback,
cutback
your edge players have to crash,
or the A gap.
to
and
maintain
the
the
edge.
edge players have
Now,
to crash.
If the play is going this way,
To maintain the edge,
what happens?
Now,
Let's clean all
if
this
the
up.
play is going this
The play
way,
is going this way,
what happens?
let's clean all
The run
this up.
fits are the opposite.
The play is going this way.
You want to get outside. The run fits are
wanna
the
swim
opposite. Into the A gap. You want to get outside. You want to shoot
You wanna
B.
swim into the
And then
A
Jerome
gap.
Baker is reading the backside
You wanna
cut.
shoot B,
and then shooting
the A
and then
gap.
Jerome Baker is
While
reading the
David
backside
Long
cut
has the flat
and then shooting
and
the A gap.
the B gap.
While David Long
And
has
as
the
always,
flat, your edge players
and
set the edge.
the B gap.
And as always,
So what
your
happens
edge
on this
players
play?
set
Well,
the edge.
Let's clean all this up.
So what happens on this play?
play?
We're gonna run
Well,
it a little bit here,
Let's clean all this up.
and then we're gonna
On this
pause
play,
it. We're gonna run it a little bit here. They're gonna bring a man in motion,
And
then we're gonna
Pause it.
That's gonna even up the defense a little bit. As you can
Gonna
see,
bring a man
we're
in
gonna stop it
motion
right here. As you can
That's
see,
gonna even up the defense
they've
a
kept
little
the
bit. As you can
integrity
see,
of their
we're gonna
defense,
stop
and
it
they've
right
shaded
here.
over. As you can
Because
see, now they've kept the
as
integrity
designed,
of their defense.
the
and they've
offense
shaded
is not
over,
giving up
because now
leverage
either
as
way
designed
or you know
the
the
offense
the
is
play
not
side
giving
or the
up
field side.
they're not
Leverage
giving up the
either
leverage
way or
pre-snap
to the
So,
play side or the
you gotta
field
keep your
side.
shape
They're
defensively.
not giving up the leverage.
But we're gonna keep running it.
Pre-snap. So you got to keep your shape defensively.
But we're gonna
Keep running it. And by the way, you saw Bradley Chubb point
Keep running it.
to Mayer.
The tight end.
And by the way, you saw
pointing
Bradley
at him
Chubb point
because
to Mayer. He's making sure
the tight end
that
he's pointing at
they
him
have him in coverage
because
he's
meaning
making
he
sure
kind of gave up that it's
that
zone coverage.
They
right
have him in coverage, meaning he kind of
Now
gave
he's in
up
motion,
that it's
and we're gonna
zone
stop
coverage
it.
right there.
there. All right.
And now we're gonna
And now he's in
show you how the
motion,
run
and we're gonna
fits
stop it.
worked.
All right.
And now we're gonna
To a T.
show you how the run
Raiders
fits
have become
worked.
more of. They used to be a power gap scheme. Now they've become
To
more
a
of a
T.
zone blocking.
The Raiders have
scheme.
become more.
And as you can
of,
see,
they used to be a
Raekwon
power
Davis
gap
has
scheme.
engaged the
Now
center.
they've become
more of a zone blocking scheme.
You have the
And as you
tackle
can see,
occupied.
Raekwon Davis has engaged the center.
Sealer shooting the B gap.
You
61
have
is
the
trying to
tackle
climb,
occupied.
but
Sealer
he's not going to
shooting
get the
there.
B gap because
61 is trying to climb.
as Jerome Baker is reading the B
But
gap,
he's not going to get
and is
there
reading the flat
because
as Jerome
there's
Baker
one guy
is
who's
reading the B
really
gap
good at his job
and is reading
he
the
does
flat.
it exponentially well every single
There's
week.
one guy who's
And
really good at
he
his job
is
and he
as
does
good
it
exponentially
or
well
better
every single
than
week.
advertised
And
as far
he
as a
is
Phil linebacker.
as good or
And it kinda
better
reminds you of
than
Landon
advertised
Roberts,
as
as
far
far
as
as
a
a
Phil
Phil
linebacker.
linebacker. And
David
it kind
Long
of reminds
is
you
much
of
better at
Atlanta Roberts.
pretty much everything
Although
else
he's
other
much
than
better
Philly.
because
As a
David
fill
Long
backer,
is much better at
pretty much
Atlanta
everything
Roberts.
else other than
But
Philly.
David Long is
as a fill backer,
reading
than Atlanta
the
Roberts.
A-gap on either
But
side of
David
Raekwon
Long
Davis's
is leverage.
reading
He has the cutback,
the A-gap
and
on
he
either
has the
side
whole
of Raekwon
let's
Davis's
run it so you
leverage.
can see.
He has the cutback,
And he
David
has the
Long
whole let's run it
fills
so you
on
can
this
see
play.
how David Long
And you see him bypass 61
fills
and is
on this
shooting
play.
into the hole. And now
And you see him
Jacobs
bypass
is
61
going to try to
and
employ
is
a
shooting into
cutback
the hole.
as
And
Bradley Chubb
now Jacobs is going to try to
has not
employ
only
a
set the
cutback,
edge, but he's
as
crashing
Bradley
down.
Chubb. Jalen Phillips
not only
a
set the edge,
spectacular job,
but he's crashing
setting
down.
the edge.
Over
Jalen
here,
Phillips
as
a
there is
spectacular
absolutely
job,
nothing, and you have the
setting
forced
the
defender,
edge,
which is the
over
unblocked
here,
cornerback.
as there is absolutely
and you
nothing,
have
and you have
Javon
the
Holland
forced defender, which is the unblocked
as
cornerback.
the extra,
And you have
tackler
Javon
on
Holland
this with only one blocker released, which
as
is
the extra
Kobe Meyer.
tackler.
This is
on this with
extremely
only one
well
blocker released,
orchestrated
which is
run defense.
Kobe Meyer.
Perfect run fits.
This is extremely
And
well.
David Long
orchestrated
cleans
run
it up
defense
with a
perfect
little
run
help from
fits.
Bradley Chubb.
And David Long
Now this is
cleans
as
it up
good an
with a
example
little help
of
from Bradlly
perfect
Chubb.
quarters coverage.
Now
as you
this
can
is as
get.
good an example
What do you want to do
of
in
perfect
quarters coverage? Well,
as you can
in
get.
quarters coverage,
What do you want to do
you're essentially
in
cutting
quarters
the field
coverage?
into
Well,
four parts.
in quarters coverage,
But you're always going to
essentially
play
cutting the
with
field
outside
into
leverage.
four parts
on the outside.
but you're always going to play,
which
with
means you got to
outside leverage
squeeze
on the
these
outside.
lanes. Which means you got to
Which
squeeze
means
these
that
lanes.
this is middle of
Which means
the field
that this is middle
open
of
the
which
field
also relies on your linebackers to either get
open.
depth,
which
or also
high-low
relies on
the
your
intermediate
linebackers to
zone.
either get depth
with the interior linebacker,
or
and
high-low
let's clean this up
the
so
intermediate
you can see it a
zone.
little bit better.
With
So you can see it
interior linebacker,
and let's clean this up so you can see
short
it a little
zone.
better.
So you can see it
Intermediate
in
zone.
so
you're
short zone,
cutting off this
intermediate zone.
throwing lane right here.
So you're cutting
as
off your quarters coverage
this
since you have outside
throwing
leverage.
lane right here
As your quarters coverage
squeezes
since you
this
have outside
lane.
leverage squeezes this
Now,
lane.
Do you want to run quarters coverage all the time? No, because
Now,
you need very, very, very.
Do you
special
want to
corners
run quarters coverage
do
all
it?
the time? No, because you
And
need very, very, very
most teams
special
give
corners
up
to
completions
do it on plays like this. We're
and
gonna run it.
Most teams
So
give
you
up
can see it.
completions on plays like this. We're going to run it. And
So
we're
you
going
can
to
see
pause
it.
it. There's the integrity of. And we're going to pause
Quarters
it.
coverage.
There's the
It's
integrity
quarters
of
cover 4, 2 under.
quarters coverage.
Okay.
It's quarters
Kohu has
cover
the
4,
tight end.
2 under.
So
There's the integrity.
Okay.
There's the shape.
Kohu has the
Very well
tight
covered.
end.
Okay, it's
So,
rare that you're gonna
there's
have
the integrity.
four
There's
wide
the
receivers
shape.
released past the
Very well
intermediate area.
Okay, it's
But,
rare that you're gonna have 4 wide receivers
unless
released
it's,
past the
it's-
intermediate area.
It's an all
But-
offense.
But unless it's in
it's-
this instance,
it's an all-vert
what you
offense.
have are
But
two very, very special players in Jalen
in
Ramsey.
this instance,
And what you
Xavier
have
Howard
are two
and they're
very,
playing their
very
leverage
special players in Jalen
and
Ramsey.
you can
and
kind of see it
Xavier
in
Howard,
Howard's
and they're
body
playing their
language.
leverage.
He's prepared to drive
And
any dig
you
route.
can kind of see it
So
in
if
Xavier
Jacoby
Howard's
Myers
body
is going to run
language,
this
he's
dig right
prepared to
here.
drive.
He's prepared to
any
drive
dig
it.
route.
So
As
if Jacoby Myers is going to run this dig right
Javon
here.
Holland has
He's prepared to drive it.
his deep hash,
And Deshaun Elliott,
Javon Holland
has
has his quarter hash,
his
as
deep
well.
hash.
So this is
And Deshaun
very, very
Elliott
well covered.
has
And this is
his
also
quarter
hash as well. So this is
Optimal.
very, very well
Optimal.
covered.
Optimal.
And this is also
cloud coverage.
But
Optimal.
what makes this
Optimal.
so special
Optimal.
is this play.
Cloud coverage.
You're going to see.
But
What makes this so special
ball
is this
is
play.
gone.
You're going to see.
And this is a dig route.
Okay?
Ball is gone.
Now, as you can
this is
see,
a dig
ball's
route.
gone. And
Okay?
Xavier Howard is
Now,
prepared to
as
drive
you can
on
see,
the dig.
ball's gone.
And
And
Jalen Ramsey is
Xavier
absolutely
Howard
diving.
is prepared to drive on the dig.
driving on this dig.
And Jalen Ramsey is
But
absolutely
most teams
diving.
just give up this completion.
There's
driving
a lot
on
of
this dig.
space here. Remember I said middle of the field
But most
open?
teams just give up this
There's a
completion.
lot of
There's
space
a lot
there.
of space.
Most
here. Remember
teams
I said middle of
give
the field
up
open.
that
There's a
completion.
lot of space there.
Not this team.
Most teams,
And the reason they
give up
don't is because they have players
that
like
completion.
Xavier Howard and Jalen
Not this
Ramsey
team.
on the perimeter.
And the reason
This
they
is a
don't is because they
spectacular
have
play
players
by
like
Jalen
Xavier
Ramsey.
Howard
Look at him laid
and
out
Jalen
for that.
Ramsey on the perimeter. This is
That's how you make
play by
quarters
Jalen Ramsey.
coverage.
Look at him laid out for that.
Tight.
That's how you make
watch it
quarters
again.
coverage.
Watch it at full speed. Look at the shape
Tight.
of the quarters coverage.
Let's watch
As
it
it
again.
squeezes
Watch it at full speed.
the
Look at
lane.
the shape of the quarters
Ramsey
coverage.
drives
As it
on the dig.
squeezes the lane.
Intercept it. Ramsey
Now let me show
drives
you really, really
on the
good
dig.
orchestration.
Intercept it.
Now let me show
On
you
the run game.
really, really good orchestration.
On
They're gonna have
the run game.
Ingold at the
As-
snap,
or before the snap. They're gonna have
Waddle
have
come in
Ingold
motion.
at the snap, or before the snap. They're
Try
gonna
to
have
widen out
Waddle
the defense.
come
It
in
doesn't really
motion.
accomplish its goal, but it doesn't really matter. We're gonna clean this.
Try to widen out the
And
defense.
we're actually running.
Doesn't really
so
accomplish its
right
goal, but it
to
doesn't really
the
matter.
snap,
We're gonna
so we
clean
can
this
see.
up.
And we're actually
It's gonna
running.
happen.
So right to
So Waddle,
the snap,
and all
so
of
we
this
can
is
see
predicated on timing.
it's gonna happen. And right
So
there
Waddle,
was right
and
at
all of
the
this
snap.
is
So you're trying to
predicated
widen
on
the
timing.
defense with the motion on Waddle,
And right
but
there
what you're
was
going to
right
try to
at the
get
snap.
here. So you're trying to widen the
is
defense with
you're
the
gonna release
motion on Waddle, but what you're going to try to
tight
get
end
up
here
the field
is you're going to release,
pick up the backside backer.
your tight end up the field.
Lester Cotton
It's going to release to
pick up the backside backer.
the Mike backer.
Lester Cotton
It's
as
going to release to pick up
Armstead
the
seals
Mike backer.
as
Connor drives,
Armstead seals.
release.
Connor drives.
What looks like split zone.
But very
Release.
important here, you're leaving one unblocked. One
And
unblocked.
what looks
here,
like
and
split
that
zone.
Guy's responsibility.
But very
is
important
Alec
here,
Ingold's.
you're leaving one unblocked.
Going to get
one
right
unblocked
here,
and that
and
guy's
they're running it.
responsibility is Alec Ingold.
ISO style.
It's going to get right
With
here,
Raheem Mostert,
and they're running it
really well executed.
ISO style.
But there's
With
a
Raheem
couple
Mostert.
of blocks missed here.
Really
and
well
we're gonna run
executed.
it so you can see it.
But there's a couple of blocks missed here, and we're going to run it. So
As you can see
it.
right here, this thing is extremely well blocked. Okay, and
As you
Julian
can see
Hill,
right here, this thing is
Lester Cotton
extremely
have
well
released,
blocked.
and they're going to get on their blocks.
Okay,
and Julian Hill,
Alec Ingold's going to hit the
and Lester
cutoff.
Cotton have released, and they're going to get
There's
on
the
their
ISO
blocks.
run.
Alec Ingold's going to hit the cutoff.
There's the lane.
And there's the ISO run.
Nice
There's
gain
a lane.
of 9 yards.
And we're going to
Nice
watch it
gain
from
of
the
9
end
yards.
zone view so you could get a good look at. And we're going to
How
watch
they
it
hit these
from
blocks.
the end zone view. So
And I want you to see Alec
good look
Ingold
at
because
it's extremely
how they
important
hit
what he
these
does on
blocks.
this.
Because
And I want you to
he's
see
gonna hit
Alec
the
Ingold
cutoff
because it's
again.
extremely important what
I
he
don't
does
believe
on
he's
this.
missed one all
Because he's
year.
going to hit the cutoff again. I don't believe he's missed one
Right there,
all
occupies
year.
him.
There's the run. Now
Right
you would have
there,
liked to
occupies
have
him.
held those two blocks at the point
There's
of
the
attack.
run.
Now you would have
Julian
liked
Hill
to have held
And Lester
those
Cotton.
two blocks at the point of
You
attack.
drive those guys out of there.
With Julian Hill.
Maybe you have a
and
bigger
Lester
gain.
Cotton.
But
You
the
drive those
mere
guys out of
action
there.
of that run
Maybe
play.
you have a bigger
Open
gain.
up that lane. For
But
a
the
pretty
mere
nice gain
action
for
of
Raheem
that
Mostert.
run play. Open
Now,
up that
here's
lane
an
for
example of a
pretty
split
nice
coverage.
gain for Raheem Mostert.
They're going to play like quarters.
Now,
underneath,
here's an example of a
and
split
it's
coverage.
too deep, essentially.
They're going to play like quarters
But
underneath.
since
They have
and
rules
it's too deep
in this
essentially.
defense. And
But
I've explained it
since
many more times.
they have
many
rules
times over
in this defense,
we know the
and
rules.
I've explained it many.
They're on the
many
right
more
hash.
many times
Okay.
over.
Play
we
side,
know the rules.
It's bump.
They're on the right hash.
Carry the man
Okay.
to the intermediate.
Play
area,
side
area.
It's bump.
And then you have the safety deep. Carry the man to the
And
intermediate.
you
area,
essentially only
area,
allow the little
And then you have the safety
turkey
deep.
hole shot.
Okay.
And you essentially
On
only allow
the
the
field
little
side.
turkey hole shot.
You're carrying.
okay. On
The receiver.
the field side,
All the way to the end
you're
zone.
carrying
and
the receiver
you either have
all the way to the
end zone.
intermediate, or
And
he's gonna
you either
he's gonna go
have
with them
a robber for the intermediate.
These rules are set in
or
stone.
he's
It's
gonna
the rules
he's gonna
for
go
cover
with
6.
them.
That's
The-
essentially what
these
they're kinda
rules
playing. It's
are
kind
set
of
in
a
stone.
cloud
It's
coverage, but it's
rules
kind
for
of
cover
quarters
6.
underneath.
And you're gonna
that's
see
essentially
it
what they're kind of
as
playing.
it
It's kind of
develops.
a cloud
It's
coverage, but
cleaned
it's
this
kind of
up.
quarters underneath.
And
you're
again,
gonna see
we
it as
spoke
it
about
develops.
this.
Let's
Let's
talk
clean
about
this
this
up.
earlier in this.
And
film
again,
study.
we spoke about this.
This is only
We
made
talked about this
possible
earlier
because
in
of
this
the type
film
of talent
study.
that you have on the outside. And I
This
want you
is
to
only
watch
made
Jalen
possible
Ramsey
because of the type of
on
talent
this
that
play.
you have on the outside.
He's showing his
And I want you to
leverage.
watch
It's
Jalen
outside
Ramsey
leverage
on this play.
and we're gonna.
He's
stop
showing
it
his leverage.
right
It's outside leverage.
here.
And
As you can
we're
see,
gonna
the
stop
rules
it
are being
right
played as is. Play
here.
side.
As you can see,
that's what
the
you wanna do.
rules are being
And
played as is.
You're
Play
obviously
side.
driving this
That's
hard.
what you want to do. because you got to
And
squeeze.
you're
this
obviously
little zone
driving
area right here
this hard.
in case he's going
Because
there.
you got to squeeze.
X, trust me,
this
has
little
him
zone area right here,
and would
in case
carry
he's
him
going there.
if that ball's coming
X,
over there.
trust
You're trying to
me,
win
has
with
him
your pass rush,
and
you
would
allowing
carry him
if that ball's
all
coming
this
over there. You're trying to win
short
with your
because
pass
it's the
rush,
end of the game.
and you allowing.
And remember, you have your disposition
all
right
of
here
this
with your cloud coverage
short,
so
because
you have
it's the end of the
tacklers
game
to
and
rally.
Remember, you have your disposition
Right?
right here with your cloud
But
coverage.
what can you do?
So you have tacklers.
Well, Aiden
to
O'Connell is
All right.
actually
But
doing
what
something
can you do?
very, very, very good.
Well,
here.
Aiden O'Connell is
he's identified
actually doing
who's
something
carrying
very,
who.
very good here.
and he's reading.
He's identified
Javon Holland is
who's
essentially
carrying
flat-footed
who,
and driving on this.
and he's
Jacoby
reading
Myers route.
how Javon Holland is essentially flat-footed and driving
So
on this
who's
Jacoby
101?
Myers route.
He thinks he has Jalen Ramsey 101. Jalen Ramsey is actually widening.
So who's 101?
he
But
thinks he
maintaining
has
his
Jalen
integrity.
Ramsey 101. Jalen
and
Ramsey is
his
actually
leverage.
widening, but maintaining his
That's
integrity
called baiting
and
a
his
throw,
leverage.
ladies and gentlemen. And
That's
we're gonna run
called
it so
baiting
you can
a
see
throw.
How
ladies and
exactly
gentlemen.
it comes off. And we're gonna run
And
it
as the
so you
ball
can
is gone,
see
you can see
how
Deshaun Elliott
exactly it comes off.
gives up on driving.
And
to
as the
make
ball
that
is gone,
turkey
you can
hole
see
shot
Deshaun Elliott
really, really, really tight.
gives up on
So he's
driving
going to help Jalen
to
Ramsey
make that turkey
and he actually
hole
gets
shot
there. Really, really, really
But
tight.
Jalen Ramsey does
So he's
something
going to help
special.
Jalen Ramsey, and he actually gets there. But Jalen Ramsey does something special. Intercepted, and this guy right here is calling. Intercepted,
Game.
and this guy right here is calling. Game.